Hey, good evening, everyone. It is 8:16 right now on this Wednesday evening, and I got one little severe thunderstorm to talk about here now that is moving through the area. If you happen to live in parts of Coles or Cumberland County, so you might have gotten a notice on your WCIA3 weather app about the chance for or about a severe thunderstorm warning that's came out here. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're also going to use this time. I had already planned at about 8:15, 8:20 anyways to jump on and just talk about the severe threat on Thursday. The setup Thursday is rather complicated. There's a high ceiling and a lot of factors and variables to go in place. So a little bit of an appetizer, a little initial fun, I guess we'd say, for to talk about first with that. This storm now is located to the south of Mattoon, Charleston, and kind of hugging the county line here. And you look here, I had a report earlier. Lakeland College sits right here. Had a report to the east of Lakeland College of some small hail earlier, but this storm now is going to cross 130 south of Charleston, kind of south of the Lake Charleston right here, and into southern Coles and northern Cumberland counties. That'd be Cottonwood, Campbell, Maple Point. Lerna sits here. There's Loxa. You've got Sarah Bush Medical Center. The airport is right there. Lakeland College sits here. The split 45 to Neoga, 121 south is there. And right here is Toledo. Down there is Greenup, just to give you a visual reference of where this is. This severe thunderstorm warning has been issued and is in effect here. We'll pull up some of the information so you can look at it. Mainly going to be a hail threat with this particular storm. I think some quarter-size hail is possible with it. We haven't had any reports of that being the case as of yet. But looking aloft at the storm, there's a core aloft, a lot of mass in the storm. So that's going to have to come down and make it to the ground. And you can see that big pink area that's starting to really show up here. That's going to be between really just south of Lerna by about 2 miles, in fact, where that center of that hail core is. We'll zoom in closer, take a peek at that. But that's kind of what we're dealing with here. And this warning is going to go until 8:45. So we've only got about less than 30 minutes for it. It's moving to the east at about 25 miles an hour. So just to give you some visual reference here, we kind of zoom on in. That hail core now from Trilla and Lerna right in here. See how that bright pink, a lot of that showing some of that mass that's aloft, what we're watching. So if you got any reports from the area, I know some folks are probably checking on in with this particular storm. We thought the chance may be there for a couple of spots of small hail. This storm's certainly overperforming a little bit. And let's hope that's not the trend for the rest of the event. But with that being the case, I was going to hop on. We'll talk about Thursday coming up in a bit, but we've got this one storm that I want to kind of mention here for our area. Other little showers trying to pop up Beardstown down towards Ashland and Springfield. Have not had any success there yet so far, and that line continues. And there's a weak boundary that's in place. I'll kind of draw that out for you. And let me get my proper marker in place. That weak boundary is kind of located right on here, and it'll be lifted to the north slowly. And so we likely will see a couple more thunder showers develop. This one's right on that boundary and has taken advantage of some instability that's in the area and has given us that one severe thunderstorm warning. There have been other severe thunderstorms down in the St. Louis area. We've got one now in Madison County and Edwardsville, probably getting some hail. And let me switch my radars real quick so we can see the other storms. There have been other storms down there as well that have seemed to have weakened. There was some hail earlier this evening in Monroe County, Waterloo area, and the south and east of St. Louis. And then there's been more problems as well out into central Missouri and then into Kansas, and a lot of storms out there developing. When we talk about our storm threat for tomorrow morning, it's this area that's developing with eventually is going to head our direction. There's just been a little bit of activity ahead of it there. So this is where we'll watch all of these storms form, and through the evening, they'll mature and move in our direction where we think that threat for some severe weather will. Right now, in fact, Kansas City, let's look at this here. I'm just going to pop up the warning, seeing that purplish outline. Pretty interesting. I think that's going to be for, let's see here. They're warning that for 3-inch hail. 3-inch hail in the Kansas City metro area. Good grief. That's some big hail. Then there's been a couple of tornado warnings out there as well. So back to our area real quick, and then we'll start talking about the setup. Likely some big hail from Lerna to Cottonwood, southern Coles, and northern Cumberland County. I kind of watched this storm. I posted it on my Facebook and said, hey, got one little cell. Was moving a little more east-northeast towards Charleston. What caught my eye is it almost organized and turned a little to the right. instead of going more to the north, then it kind of anchored on that boundary and headed more straight east. And sometimes we will watch to see those storms that do that. And so when that happens, this storm then strengthened a little bit and certainly was warranted the severe thunderstorm warning for some quarter-size hail. Got a message from Mike. He is in Lerna. Lots of hail at the moment. Mike, if you have a size of that. Nathan Clark also saying, one way we like to measure hail, and I'll bring up a graphic I showed briefly in the newscast. If you're ever thinking about measuring hail, find an object that is common and can be measured to represent that. I mean, you reach in your pocket here, you find some coins probably, maybe you got them in your car, and stick one next to them. Even if the hail is, say, larger or smaller, we can reference that inch measurement of a quarter or the size of a golf ball. Maybe you've got a baseball in your car. You got kids that are playing ball, starting to get some practices here in the next few weeks in the spring season. Whatever you can measure it with, that gives us a visual reference. You may have a baseball sitting in your back seat from your kids. We can clearly see that it's not that size hail, but it's smaller hail based on that, and that gives us a bit of a way to look at that. So if you've got a size, much appreciated to reference that to a coin, usually a small sports object here. The discussion during the 6 o'clock newscast was how there was hail down near the Waterloo area in Monroe County that was hen egg size. That's a standard 2-inch. I know there's all kinds of eggs, jumbo and small, and different chickens lay different sizes, but that certainly is something that is good to know. Okay, dime-size hail, Mike reporting that in Lerna. Thank you for that report, Mike, there, as we'll jump back to the radar real quick, and then I'm going to forward that report to the National Weather Service really quick, and then from there, then we will talk about what we expect for tonight and into tomorrow, especially as we're kind of getting a little early around here. So let me just let the NWS know. Just had a viewer report of dime size hail in Lerna just now. That way they have that information, and we can pass that along, and they can use that to warn things for that. Okay, let's see here. That is our one severe thunderstorm warning. Mattoon, you're clear. Charleston, you're hearing some thunder. You're hearing it in Mattoon as well. But this storm is mainly south. It'll be kind of between Greenup and Charleston. Diona, Campbell, Lerna, Cottonwood areas, moving off to the east, about 25 miles an hour. Man, that's you can see that little white spot showing up there. That's some pretty big. Let me pull up my hail size real quick and see if we get an estimate on that. And then I'll flip back and check the lightning out. This mainly is going to be a hail. It takes sometimes a minute for there it is. Well, hey, there we go. You zoom in here. See some of these Johnstown, Janesville, some of those little small areas. Radar estimates of, let's see what it says here. If it's popping up, estimating $50 size hail, in fact, perhaps with some of those. And get that to pop up on the screen there. 1.3 inches. There it is, estimating perhaps $quarter to $50 size hail in Johnstown and the Janesville areas. That's along the Cumberland, Coles County lines, some small little towns there. They're heading towards Diona, crossing 130 in about 15 minutes, and then probably stays near or just north of Casey if it continues in that direction. Let me pull up a camera real quick. And I know we've got lightning with this here. And that is Champaign looking to the south. I had the Effingham one up. Let's see if we can pop that real quick for you here. We can see the lightning from the TV station. The camera, I should say, we saw that lightning. Let's give it a second. Actually, I'm going to have to switch this real quick. Is it popping up? There it is. So we got the flashing light on top of the hospital there in Effingham, but in the distance, you can see some of that lightning from that storm that's been moving on through. And there's been plenty of it as well. This camera located at the hospital. We've got it facing north and northeast towards that storm. Might need to turn a little bit more to the right eventually, but plenty of lightning and thunder out there with this particular storm. Again, we got just one storm on the board at this point causing those issues today. Folks that are watching in Champaign and Effingham, Springfield, Decatur, there's nothing of concern here at this moment. We will see more storms develop, though, through the evening. I expect that we will have a few of these isolated thunder showers still. Some of these little cores trying to go up, but they're not concerning at this point. One severe storm, all we're dealing with at this point. But we'll see more storms develop, and then might have a chance for some small hail with them as we move on through the evening hours and plenty of lightning. I think it's going to be a loud night for some of us. So if you've got some sleepers at home that are maybe not how do I say it? Light sleepers, or maybe you got kids or pets. That might be a noisy night for them. These storms are going to have a lot of energy to work with, and plenty of lightning and thunder, things of that, of course, already happening. Let's jump over to my other graphics. Let's talk about the rest of the night tonight, and let's talk about into tomorrow and how things play out. A bit of a tricky forecast for us here would be try and assess the severe weather risk tomorrow. It all kind of seems like tonight will affect tomorrow, which will affect tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon probably has the greatest threat. Tomorrow morning probably has the greatest coverage. A lot more of us will get thunder and lightning and rain tonight into tomorrow morning than many of us will tomorrow afternoon, evening. However, while tonight, tomorrow, the severe threat is lower, the severe threat, I think, could end up being a bit higher as we go to the afternoon round here. And so that's kind of what we're dealing with. Let me jump over to our future track real quick. And we'll kind of talk through these storms. It's going to take me a second to make sure. Got another message about dime-sized hail on the far southern edge of Charleston. Julie commenting about that. Pea-sized hail in Lerna. Appreciate those reports as they come on. It's taking my computer a second to load here. In fact, I think I may have froze. There he goes. Okay, so let me get the graphics adjusted. And there we go. Back it up to the beginning. First off, Future Track hasn't picked up on any storms in this area tonight. And so we always have to take it with a grain of salt. Whenever we look at Future Track, we don't treat it as gospel. We're looking at the trends for it here. What is it showing us? What is it suggesting may happen? In general, you can see here as we go into tonight, there will be some more scattered showers and thunderstorms that lift on through. That's midnight to 1 a.m. Some pockets here and there, maybe a stronger cell somewhere in the area. Is it going to sit right there south of Taylorville? We don't know. I don't want to say for sure. I think there'll be a couple of those cores that could have some smaller hail with it, but nothing looks significant and widespread damaging from this particular storm. 4 or 5 in the morning, you still see scattered showers and some thunder mixed in there, maybe some small hail. But look off here to the west. This is at 5 a.m. This, I think, will be the biggest chance for severe weather tomorrow morning. And you can see as we go through the morning hours, 7, 8 a.m., see how it's kind of lining up here? That line gives me the idea that we may have some wind potential. There could be some 60, 65 mile an hour gusts. I don't think this is a widespread wind event. I don't think this is a high impact event. There'll be plenty of thunder and lightning, some heavy downpours along it. Maybe a spot gets some small hail. There might be somewhere where the warm front settles in. I think that's going to be along I-74. There might be an area of some greater winds over 60 mile an hour at times. We'll watch it. It's not overly intense, but this will play a role in what happens tomorrow afternoon. Look at 10, 11 a.m. sweeping on through here. The quicker it can get to the east, the faster we can get those temperatures up, I think the greater the potential for severe weather into the afternoon. Look at 1, 2 o'clock. Pretty quiet here across much of the region. A little sunshine. We don't need a whole lot, just some pockets here and there. And there may still be a few thunder showers out there somewhere. But as we go through the afternoon then, by the evening hours, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, look what's coming our way from the west here. If we can get a couple of these storms to really form, notice the coverage of storms tomorrow afternoon is more isolated, but the intensity is much greater with these. These are supercell thunderstorms, and this is where we can get some very large hail, potentially some tornadoes possible, and also damaged winds would be a consideration with that. The more individualized they are, the more concern there will be for that. Eventually, I do think here, this is suggested 5 o'clock. Will it be right here exactly in there? No, but you see how it's showing that isolated thought? And I think we'll have some time to watch these develop in West Illinois, Northeast Missouri, and head our direction. And so we'll really get a couple hours ahead of time, say, uh-oh, there they are. We'll know more about it. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Notice how it starts to become more linear, more clustered here. That may mean the tornado threat comes down, but I would still think there with the afternoon, evening round, this probably is that most intense round. And even through 8, 9 o'clock, that wind threat picks up, the tornado threat comes down. We should, by 10, 11 o'clock, get those storms out of here. So that's something that we're watching with that for the day. So a lot of us are going to have an active, wet commute tomorrow. There'll be thunder, lightning. You want to send the kids to school with a rain jacket. I don't expect a significant event tomorrow morning as far as severe weather goes. I can't rule out some hail and wind. We'll keep you updated in that. I do think the greater potential is tomorrow afternoon. It will depend on getting that line out of here, clearing things out in time. But that may be where this tornado threat does have to go a little higher. Maybe we bring that hail threat up a little bit. So we'll watch that. The hail might be, to me, the most interesting thing about tomorrow with those isolated storms that may form in our direction. We see it tonight with the storm. I'm getting lots of messages saying, hey, I've got hail in Lerna, and I appreciate that. We'll get back to that here. We will get back to that. I think the hail tomorrow could be pretty impressive. This is our hail threat graphic. When we look at this, it's the risk of hail, the size of it here. Doesn't mean everyone gets that. I'm not saying everyone in Springfield, Taylorville, Effingham, Decatur, Mattoon is getting the red coloring with hail here. What we're looking at is where we think the greatest hail could be. It will be more isolated, so there could be, a little line or a spot somewhere in there that gets some of this hail. But the greatest potential where those isolated storms are, we think that might be along 72 and west of I-57 here in that red area. That could be maybe up to tennis ball size hail. Would not be surprised by that. Tonight, the hail overperforming quite a bit. We may have some golf ball potential. And then the other thing to note is on this graphic, and I posted this to my Facebook page if you want to look at it, that round number 1 in the morning, quarter, maybe $half hail in the morning, more scattered, not too concerned about that. The impacts from that won't be significant, but if we do get that afternoon round to play out, we get some pockets of some tennis ball size hail. If we put that through your neighborhood, saying, okay, real quick, I'm seeing a golf ball hail. If you've got that, let me go back here. Just saw a post about golf ball size hail. Here we go. We're messing things up here. Okay, I think we're back here. Someone's saying golf ball hail. If that's in Illinois, please let me know where that is. In fact, let's jump back to our storm really quick here, just to keep an eye on it. Actually, let me finish this. Eaton, let's see. If you've got that golf ball hail report, let me know where that is from. Let me reply real quick to that. That way he sees that message there. So this is the hail threat for tomorrow. Again, if the storms look more isolated in the afternoon, evening, that could be where we've got some really big hail potential with that. I do want to talk about the tornado threat as well. At this point, the tornado threat is a 3 and a 4 in our area. We're at a 3 and a 4 on a scale. It's about to load here. My computer's being a little slow. I'll probably have to restart it here and afterwards. That 3 and 4 threat, there it is. The green is in 3. The yellow is in 4. I suspect there could be a chance we have to up this tomorrow, and it may happen pretty quickly. The morning round, I'm not really worried about tornado threat. That's the good news here. Wind, maybe some hail. The afternoon, those individual cells, you get 1 or 2 of those. That would be much appreciated. Okay, the Bent Tree Golf Course here. Let me see. Bent Tree Golf Course. That's gonna be right in the right spot there. Okay. So south of Charleston, where that is. So this is the risk tomorrow. I think we may have to make some updates to that. So we will watch and see how that plays on out. The risk right now, the Storm Prediction Center risk is a slight 2 out of 5. There also is a chance I think we could upgrade that. It may not happen with the midnight update. One of the things is there's still a bit of uncertainty with this afternoon round and how it plays out. I will say they did up the threat for I-55 with a slight, they pulled that marginal more, so that makes sense. They're saying that when this Thursday update comes, it may not update tonight with the lower confidence, but we're aware that this could ramp up pretty quickly with that scenario coming on through. All right, let me jump back to radar, and we can look at that storm. Again, I had a report of some golf ball size hail, which surprised me a little bit. I haven't looked at that storm for a bit, but let's check it out here. So let's see what we're dealing with here. Let's get my storm there now. It's starting to cross 130 near the Diona area, south of Charleston. The golf course is right about in here, south of Charleston for that. And that'll be continuing off to the east there. Westfield, Illinois 49, between Westfield and Casey, and that area will be next in line. If this continues, I think we'll get a new warning before long. We'll see that this warning expires at 8:45. And we will go from there. So I'm kind of checking the messages as well to see if we've got any photos and things like that of this hail. We know got plenty of lightning pictures coming in. Nathan from Lerna sent that. Kevin Webb has sent me a picture. If you got any pictures too, that is much appreciated. And I know if you're in that area, that report of golf ball size hail. Moving off to the east and northeast, Dennis saying marble to quarter size hail in Charleston. Bent Tree Golf Course. Okay. So we just got a new warning, in fact, with this storm, just extended off to the east. And that new warning is going to be for golf ball size hail. Severe thunderstorm warning now continues until 9:15, and that hail core going to be the Diona area north of Maple Point, right in southern Coles County. Westfield, Parker, Martinsville areas north of Casey will be next in line from that. What we may see happen too, and kind of looking at a few things, with this storm is I think what's happening with it is we might be seeing the storm split. And I'll zoom in and kind of show you that here. What I mean by storm split is we might have this piece of the storm starting to lift more to the north and east. We'll watch that. The main storm is moving to the east there. But if that happens, then maybe the south and east side of Charleston, I know the high school is there. The lake is right here. That may allow for some more hail potential to carry more towards Illinois 16. So we'll watch that. Kind of looking at a few details on the side. Certainly has my attention, but we will keep an eye on things with that. And this storm with the golf ball size hail report coming out of the Bent Tree Golf Course certainly is interesting to see. All right, let me switch back to the comments real quick. Amy saying, hey, I'm in the north side of Charleston. I got no hail. I'm not surprised by that. Seeing some messages and whatnot. Some hail being reported with these storms. So we will see. Sometimes what happens is, I would call this a supercell thunderstorm first off. Supercell thunderstorm, if you're by that, you probably see the outside. The surface of it, there's no rotation, which is good news. I'm not worried about tornadoes with that. But as we go up into the scans, and I'll kind of see if we can do that, if I can figure out the right button here, get my properties set. I'm going to take this radar and I'm going to try and scan it higher if I can. Maybe I'm not able to at this point. Let me see if I can pull up my GR. I'm not sure what this is routed to. Try and not break anything here. What do we call that? There it is. I didn't recognize that background. Let's see if this works like it wants to. There we go. So what we're looking at here with this particular storm, this is another view of it with that golf ball size hail report coming from the golf course. See how there's this little lobe here? You can kind of see it trying to split off and maybe lift a little to the north there. So if you're in Charleston, I don't think there's any big hail with that, but it may allow for that storm to kind of split and intensify. Sometimes when we see that, signs that there's some fairly decent hail in there. I was showing you about the rotation. Nothing really at the surface, but as I go a little higher, it becomes more obvious that the storm is spinning. So these storms are not sitting at the ground rotating, but aloft they are. And that rotation aloft does allow for the intensity of these storms to really take hold here. And a lot of times we see big hail with that. Radar estimates 1.5 inches to golf ball size hail potential with that through the southern part of Coles County here, as we've got that one storm that we're really dealing with. And so that kind of is the game for today. As I jump back here to my storm tracker Doppler, and we look at it here, quite the hail core right there south of Charleston on 130. You go south of the lake there, and you get that little jog in the road just by the county line, and that's kind of where we're at. There's been a little bit of lightning reported here also. I know some folks are saying, well, I got thunder and lightning, and I can see it from Danville. It's far away for that, but we do have some thunder showers, portions of Cass, Menard, and Sangamon County here, including in the Springfield area. Nothing concerning with that here, but we watched this storm, and this is the, I guess you'd say, storm of the day with our particular evening event with a little bit of a, I want to say, surprise. I think the odds of this happening were pretty low, but it's overperforming, and so we were going to jump on. I already planned to come on and chat with you about tomorrow, but we got to talk about tonight and this storm coming on through. You see the hail swath here. This is an estimate of the hail that has fallen. So it's usually a couple of minutes behind, but you can see here along the county line there, south of Lerner and Cottonwood, where that storm has really picked on up. Those blues, when you start to see that light blue is quarter size. And so there's some estimates of quarter to golf ball size hail from our hail swath, which is verified with the hail report that came in from a viewer there. And so, good to see that. If we're talking about some roads, Westfield Road there, here's 130. Westfield Road, Hutton Road there. There's be some areas where that hail is heading towards. There's Diona. There's Campbell here, moving off to the east with that golf ball size hail potential that's coming on through the area. Oilfield, Westfield. Those will be some of the next places, the next named locations to be in line for this particular storm here. Hutton as well. Eventually, sure, the Indian Creek River Camp area, Fox Ridge State Park. That's probably getting some hail there. It'll be heading towards Hutton next. That sits off there. Oh, there we go. Lost control. Hutton sits right down here. Diona is there. The Fox Ridge State Park sits right here. So there's probably some big hail down there as well with this particular storm. And then the golf course where the hail was reported is right up here. So quite an impressive storm. That's it, really, is this one storm that we have. There's other storms I'll put on the regional radar here. Looks like pretty significant tornadoes now happening in Kansas, northwest of Topeka there. So those storms, all this mess out here is going to organize together and move off to the east in our direction eventually. And that'll arrive sometime early tomorrow morning. Some more storms by Tulsa, and so quite a dynamic event that's coming away. And then we've just got this one little cell, the appetizer, I suppose we'd say, to our event that is coming our way. Let's leave that for a minute. I know some folks are probably on here saying, okay, enough about today and this storm. I don't live anywhere close to it. I don't care about it. What I want to know is tomorrow. Let's talk about tomorrow. First off, tomorrow we've got two opportunities for us here, and the morning opportunity plays a role in the afternoon opportunity. What we think is going to happen is all that activity to our west move our way, and we'll see more develop just like we've had here tonight. I think the severe threat overall is low for us, but I think the threat is low, but we can get an isolated storm like we've got right now to cause some problems with that golf ball size hail in Coles County. That's not going to be the case everywhere, but it gives you an idea of how the atmosphere is to have golf ball size hail before we expected it, how that atmosphere potentially is able to unfold with things tomorrow. So the hail threat probably is the biggest threat, I think. The morning round, maybe $0.25. The afternoon round, that's where we could see some really big hail. I also think that the morning round is not really a concern for tornadoes. I won't say no, but I'm pretty close to that. That gives you an idea. My concern for tornadoes in the morning is really low. By the afternoon and evening, I think that tornado threat may come up, and it may go a little higher than it is now. So that could be an active night with a couple of storms that are rotating with big hail and a tornado threat for the afternoon and evening. The wind threat will be with those isolated storms. We may see some strong winds, though, during the morning hours tomorrow. Can you keep track of all that? Sometimes it seems like it's a little hard to do. Probably the best way is with this impacts graphic. Probably the best way is to kind of talk you through it again on Future Track and walk you through that process here. And give it a second to load. It sometimes takes a minute. And let me just check the National Weather Service check as well. The stream. Make sure you have not had any more reports, but it looks like they're, pop that back up. East side of Charleston getting some hail. Tyler saying south side of Charleston. If you've got any pictures of the hail, you can message to me on my Facebook page. Just do that. That's the easiest way to do. Lots of reports coming on in with that hail here in the region. So plenty of lightning and whatnot. Ron saying now just west of Hutton, there's some hail there. Okay, so first up, this is Future Track saying 8:45 tonight, what's going on. The glaring obvious miss here is there's not a storm by Future Track showing up in our area. The chance was there. We thought we'd see it develop, but we do see the general trends show the later we go, the better the chance will be for some strong storm potential tonight. It's isolated. There's one. It's not long lasting. It doesn't sustain itself. More than anything, I think for tonight, there's a lot more of us that get rain and thunder than anything else. Maybe we get a storm somewhere with some hail up to quarter to $half size. We already are having one. That's, of course, is the case. But as we go through the morning hours tomorrow, I think it's going to be a wet morning for us. You'll see this kind of cluster line to our west approaching 5 to 7 a.m. crossing the Illinois River. That line is where we might see the first more organized severe weather threat coming in our direction. There's 7, 8 o'clock now, and you see how it kind of lines out here. When you see a line like that, typically there's going to be some wind with that. And we've got the warm front that's in place here too. I don't think the hail threat is going to be as big with this morning round as it could be the afternoon. But we could see some 60, 65 mile an hour wind gusts, especially along the warm front. And I think that's probably the I-74 corridor that has the greatest chance for that. How far to the south and west these storms develop also does remain to be seen. So this is by tomorrow morning for us here into the area. Notice through the morning hours, those storms exit. We should have a break, several hours, more than enough time for storms to redevelop than tomorrow afternoon. While we will watch tomorrow morning, I don't think I'm going to be on the storm tracker in the morning. I don't think we're going to be doing wall-to-wall coverage, but I certainly think that you'll hear the rain and perhaps the thunder overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And if something does get a little bigger, we'll be here watching, making sure things are fine. If we have to do some social media time, great. As we get to the afternoon round, I think this is where the ceiling gets a bit higher for a more impactful event for us here. So the morning, more of us get rain and thunder. The afternoon, not as many of us, but as you see here, notice we get 3, 4, 5 o'clock, a couple of these isolated little cells. Those will be the ones to watch very closely for large hail, potentially very large hail, could be greater than golf balls, up to tennis ball with those. The tornado threat will be there. They're called supercell thunderstorms. And I think the atmosphere tomorrow afternoon will recover enough to be more conducive for them. As long as we get that morning stuff out of here in time and get a couple of hours of some sun and clouds and get those temperatures up to the 70s. And so we will watch that pretty closely here with an eagle eye. Eventually, as we get closer to sunset, those storms start to line out. The tornado threat will come down. The hail threat will probably still be there. The tornado threat's not going away by 7 o'clock. Probably through 10 p.m. we'll keep it there. And then as we go through 8, 9, it's more linear, complex looking. That's where maybe the wind threat will pick up a little bit more. But you can see here, 4, 5 o'clock. The thing to note is I think we'll be watching these storms form in Missouri and move our way. So we'll have some time where we get to kind of watch things with that. So that's kind of the thought process. Again, the hail size, there are going to be some adjustments to this forecast by tomorrow morning. Keep an eye on it. We will watch it closely. And once my max hail risk size gets up there, I do think the potential is we could have a few isolated areas get tennis ball size hail tomorrow. Already I've had golf ball size hail in the Lerner area east of there by the golf course. With that one storm, it's elevated. The tornado threat's not there tonight for that, but certainly it's an impressive storm. Tomorrow with this big hail, though, there may be a tornado threat that accompanies it. We'll get an idea of what the Storm Prediction Center thinks will happen. I suspect that we may see our threat up a little bit, increase a little bit. For tomorrow, I think the hail threat may increase, and we'll see what happens. Right now, we're sitting at a 3-4 for our area out of 10. We might make a 5. Could we get to a 6? We'll see. The other thing to note is, while I've got a lot of you here, is we may not be able to see this threat increase until we see what the morning round does. But as that morning round exits, that may be an opportunity for us to kind of look at things and go either, oh, we're looking a lot better, or, the afternoon, evening could be a little more rough for us here. So just checking tomorrow morning is not going to be good enough. Check at noon, early afternoon, things of that, kind of keep an update with the forecast for that. Let's do one last check here of our supercell thunderstorm in Coles and Cumberland counties. And I evaluate it. And then I'm going to have to sign off here a little bit. When I sign off, we'll have WCIA 3 News at 9 on WCIX. I'll be back at 10 o'clock. If the storm is still in the area, and I think it's probably out of here by 9:30, it might be in Clark County heading off towards Terre Haute, then I think we'll be okay. But you can see here, this one storm we've got, severe thunderstorm warning for Coles, Cumberland counties, and also Clark counties, is for golf ball size hail with that. And so it has been a big hail event down there south of Charleston as this storm works its way on through the area. Up next, sitting over Hutton now. If you're west of Illinois 130, you're done. It's over Hutton. It's going to be heading towards Westfield, Oilfield, places like that, crossing Illinois 49 in the next little bit. And there's likely to be some more hail with this particular storm as it moves off to the east. All right, I got to sign off. We got a newscast in 7 minutes from now. If you have any hail reports, any messages, somebody just said, Andy just said his daughter was caught south of Charleston in the hail. There's dents on the hood of the car. There's been some big hail with that. You get photos, things like that, safe to do so. Send them my way. I'd love to see those, and we'll talk more about it on WCIX News at 9, WCIA 3 News at 10 on CBS. If needed, I'll come back on digital platforms, but I suspect this will be the last update I have for you this evening. And then tomorrow, we'll probably be pretty active here in the Weather Center. I'm Jacob Dickey. Thanks for joining us on digital platforms. We will see you at 9 o'clock for updates. More storms expected through the night. Not necessarily as intense as this guy has been, but we certainly in the next 24 hours going to have some severe weather to deal with again before all is said and done. Thanks.